All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Beyond the Baller podcast. My name is Hannah Adler. I'm one of the co-founders of Beyond the Baller.
And my name is Cheyenne Schwartz. I'm also a co-founder of Beyond the Baller.
And today we have Vanessa Valentine on our podcast. Welcome, Vanessa.
Thank you guys. I cannot thank you guys enough for having me on. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Beyond the Baller and both of you guys. And so I appreciate you uh, welcoming me onto the show and allowing me to share my stories. So thanks, guys.
Of
All
course.
right.
Thanks for coming on. For those of you that are listening podcast form, Vanessa's wearing a very cute Beyond the Baller sweatshirt. That's what she's referencing. It's very cute.
That's true. People can't see me
Yeah.
pointing to the sweatshirt, right? So I gotta.
Well, we will have a YouTube. We'll have a YouTube one, and then we'll have a
Perfect.
Yeah.
Spotify. Yeah, so they can see. But yeah, so we're super excited to have Vanessa on today. Vanessa has a lot of playing experience and a lot of coaching experience, and we're super happy to have her share her valuable knowledge with all of you. Vanessa's currently the head coach at University of Nevada, which is incredible. Congrats, Vanessa.
Thank you. Thank you.
And she also plays on the U.S. beach soccer women's national team alongside myself. But
Absolutely. To your own horn, girl. Come on.
but we're super happy to have you on here and share how you ended up on this path. I know it hasn't been necessarily easy for you. You've played a lot of grass soccer as well. So we're really excited to hear about that. Maybe you can start off by telling us how, like, where you grew up, where you played club, and then kind of go from there. Like, tell us your whole entire path and how you ended up in coaching as well.
Oh man, how much time do we have on this
Yeah,
podcast? You guys
exactly. We'll
ready
be
to?
here till midnight.
Yeah. As much as you want. Got the whole
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, so I grew up here in San Diego, Encinitas, California, and right on the beach. And so I grew up about a mile from the beach and was blessed with being in such beautiful surroundings. Um, and played for surf, so surf soccer right down the street. Um, I always joke with my mom because I don't know where I got my competitiveness from, right? Like I swear I switched at birth or something happened because uh my mom, bless her heart, love her to death. She's like, she goes on these long runs and just likes to be left alone. I have two brothers that just love to surf and just love to be out one with the waves and very zen and again, not the competitive type. And so I don't know where I got my competitiveness from or, a lot of my athletic and soccer abilities, but from a very young age, thank God I was blessed with that. I thank God every single day that, that I was good enough on soccer and good enough to join a really good club team. And my club team allowed me so many different opportunities. I mean, my club team was everything. We won national championships and traveled the country and from a very, very young age, it opened my eyes to want to coach and it opened my eyes to the possibilities. Now, again, bless my mother's heart, love her to death. She is my entire world. I also grew up with a single mother, not to get too deep into things, but my dad left when I was about 6 years old and my mom was, stepped in and was like, okay. And she recognized the importance of soccer and she recognized the importance of me being on this club team of what doors it's going to open for me. And so she was a flight attendant and worked her tail off in order for us to afford to live in San Diego, in order for me to play on this club team. And so you can imagine of a mom flying and being gone a lot of my childhood, especially in those high school years when you don't really have a parent around to tell you don't go to parties, don't have parties at your house, go to school, all these different things. And um, so I didn't really have that, right? I got into a lot of trouble. And as you would, a teenager that didn't have really that much parental guidance. Um, Soccer was the one thing that kept me on that straight and narrow pathway. And soccer was literally the thing that I could say in a lot of ways saved my life and afforded me what, the successes that I've had in my life. Now, on top of that, I had a lot of good club coaches that, honest to God, would pick me up from parties on a Saturday morning. They would take me to training. They would make sure that I was at my games. They would make sure that I was, still on the right path of playing. And I appreciated that so much because, like I said, with that club team and playing club soccer, there were so many life lessons that I learned from teammates, from my coaches. Um, and it got me to a scholarship of playing Division 1 soccer. And when I went to play Division 1 soccer and go through that recruiting process, which I'm sure we'll get into later as a college coach now myself, my biggest thing was I didn't want my mom to pay a single dime for college, right? I knew how hard she worked just to keep me in San Diego. So going through that whole process, I was fortunate enough to get a full ride scholarship at Cal State Fullerton. And by the time I got there, I had I've already grew up so much and did my partying and did all my stuff in high school and whatnot. So when I got to college, I was incredibly serious of like, okay, you know what? Like, I'm serious about my grades. I'm serious about, obviously, I was always serious about soccer, but at that point, I had matured a lot faster than, a lot of freshmen coming into college. So went into college and played there for 4 years. Got my degree in kinesiology. Had an unbelievable time there. Loved every single minute of it. Had a good college coach, a little crazy at the time, but good college coach. For those, anybody who knows Ollie would know what I'm talking about. But I had a great experience because, again, he guided me in a way that made me fall in love with the coaching side of things too, and made me really, really appreciate the college coaching side of things. And so I knew from day one when I went to college that that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a college coach. So kind of fast forwarding, when I graduated from college, the Women's Pro League had just folded. And so I was like, well, perfect. What do I do now? So I came back to San Diego, and interesting. This is where a little interesting kind of blip in my life. And I love how like journeys kind of go in different ways, but life happens in very, very weird, interesting ways. So I came back home, started actually doing a side job with a friend of mine who owned a synthetic turf company out of everything. Synthetic
I've
turf,
never
right?
heard that
Crazy.
from you. That's
No, you're gonna hear a little bit of my journey.
yeah. Wow, this is interesting.
So started doing some side jobs in synthetic turf and started coaching like a little bit of club here and there just to kind of get a little bit of a taste for it. Um, but his sister and I were also really good friends. And so we're like, well, let's start a women-owned business. Let's take the synthetic turf and we'll start our own women-owned business where we'll get more projects, we'll get more government projects, and let's just see what we can do as women owners, right? Starting something new. And started that company, and into a few years, I'd probably say about a year and a half, the Pro League came back. And I think this was the WPS. There's so many acronyms now. I can't even remember like how the different like acronyms on this. I think it was the WPS
Okay.
that came out. And at that time I told my company like, hey, I'm gonna go pursue this. This has been my dream. And they knew me well enough. So they're like, yeah, no problem. Still stuck with the company, but still had all the health insurance, everything still stuck with the company, but went on and continued to play pro. So got invited with Philadelphia Independence and went out with Philadelphia Independence, tore up my knee. So had to come home and tore up my knee, had a ACL surgery. And then still after recovering, and I'm like, okay, and I was dead set on like pro was my pathway. Like nothing was going to stop me from playing pro. So came back, obviously ACL, 9 months, full recovery. And I mean, I was I wouldn't even say 9 months. I'd probably say it was maybe 7 months when I got released, just because it was a 9 to 5 job. I was every, 6 hours in physical therapy, crazy. So went out, got invited to go to New York Flash the next season. Went out to New York Flash, tore up my knee again. And this was like in like beginning, this was like getting invited right after there was tryouts, got invited, boom, tore up my knee. So I've always was just like barely right there. So came back, that was my meniscus. So cause in my ACL, I tore my meniscus. So I re-tore my meniscus, had to come back, get that repaired. I think that was another 5 months, was playing WPSL or playing some type of semi-pro to get myself healthy again. Re-tore my knee again. So my meniscus re-tore again.
Oh my
And this
God.
All
whole
the
time,
same knee.
the same knee. Yeah, this whole time
That's terrible.
I'm thinking these are just speed bumps, right? These are speed bumps. And this is testing me of how bad do I want it, right? How bad do I want to play pro? And so went back into the surgeon and we repaired it again. And another, my months might be like maybe 4 or 5 months of after that repair, was training and retore it again.
Oh
And was back in my
Time.
surgeon. This was 4 times. Yep. So I
Gosh.
was like, nope, I'm still like, I'm gonna go for it. I'm determined. I'm doing this, right?
my God.
Retore it for a 5th time.
Oh my
No
God.
way.
There's no way.
I didn't realize it was this many times. Like I knew that you had done like a
There
few
was,
times. I didn't realize it
yes,
was
there was
5.
5 knee surgeries.
5 on the
So this 5th
same.
one, my surgeon and I remember this like it was yesterday, right? I'm sitting in the surgeon's office and she's like, look, we can keep doing this, but why? Like, why are we doing this? Like, let's remove the meniscus. You're going to have, probably some scar tissue or whatnot later on, but like, what are we doing here? And at this point, I mean, you guys both know I'm too old and I'm no name. And so for me, I'm like, there's my chances and my hopes of playing pro are very, very, very limited. And there's just no reason to keep doing this when if you don't have a name and obviously being older, those chances are slim to none, right? So I kind of switched mindset there and I was like, why is this happening? And a good close mentor of mine was like, look, like maybe this wasn't your pathway. Maybe this wasn't what you were meant to do. Maybe playing pro was just never in the cards for you. You've always wanted to coach and maybe coaching is what you're meant to do. So I kind of go back into why I throw the synthetic turf company in there from the very beginning, because thank God without synthetic turf, I wouldn't have had the health insurance and I wouldn't have had everything to
Oh
pursue
my
that dream.
God.
So at
Wow.
this point, I sold the company and I was like, here, take my half, take everything. I'm done. Like I'm going full into college coaching and I'm putting my life now into coaching. So got a job at a small NAI school at Hope International, which I love to death. It was this small little college that's right next to Cal State Fullerton. Actually, we used to have all of our meals at Hope International. We used to steal all their food and they used to get
Oh
really
my
mad at all of us at Fullerton. So I love how like life kind of comes full circle. So
Mhm.
I'm coaching at the small Christian college for 2 years and then got an opportunity as an assistant coach at Cal Poly Pomona, um, and was at Cal Poly Pomona for 2 years and then wanted to kind of get out of the Southern California. I knew everybody in Southern California, wanted to just kind of expand and see some different places and meet new people. And so from Cal Poly Pomona went up to Seattle Pacific, another Division II small Christian college up in Seattle, and absolutely loved it. Loved everything about Seattle, loved everything about this little school. But after being there for about a year and a half, I got an opportunity at Oregon State. So when Pac-12 comes knocking, you don't
Right.
really ever turn down,
Yeah.
a Pac-12 opportunity. So I was at Oregon State for 2 years, and right in about 2019, we got let go because if you don't win in the Pac-12, which I also learned very quickly, if you don't win in the Pac-12, you don't have a job in the Pac-12. And so after 2 years of literally not winning a single game, we got let go in 2019, which again, the universe happens and works in mysterious ways, because by me getting let go, I decided to come back to San Diego. Didn't really have any other options at that time. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to come back to San Diego and kind of take a breather and see, what my next step is going to be, rather than just jumping from job to job to job. I really want to take kind of a step back and really evaluate what my what's important to me out of that next big step. Well, it was more than just taking a step back because that's when COVID hit. So COVID truly, truly forced me to literally be like, okay, shut down. Let's reevaluate what it is that you want, in your life. And maybe it's not even coaching soccer. At that point, I think I was, 6 years now into college coaching. And I was from that point, God, I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but many, 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 many years of being soccer, being my life. I mean, going through all those surgeries, going through, just these intense trainings and this, all of that kind of journey where a lot of it was like, maybe there's something more in life. Maybe I'm going to go to nursing school. Maybe I'm going to, do something completely different and focus on something new.
Mhm.
And again, the universe works in weird ways because around that time, Lauren, another um, teammate of ours on the U.S. national team, who I had played WPSL with and knew just through the playing and coaching world in SoCal, called me up and was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like, I'm literally doing nothing. I am stuck indoors in COVID. Like, what do you mean? What am I doing? She's all, well, I just want to see if you're interested in playing beach soccer. I'm really reaching out to all of my friends. We need more females. We need to get, the word out. And would you be interested in playing beach soccer? And as much as I've lived by the beach for so many years, I've never touched a soccer ball in the sand before in my life. I was like, what? As everybody else does, beach soccer, like what the heck
Yeah,
is, like, are you kidding
exactly.
me? But I had nothing else to do. So I was like, well, I might as well, and snuck off to the beach and took my ball and, went through back alleys to make sure that nobody was out there as during COVID. So I would just kind of sneak it out onto the sand, and
Mhm.
one thing led to another and fell in love with it. And once the restrictions started lightening up and whatnot, I mean, Hannah, you've gotten a little bit of a taste of our Zoom meetings, but that was literally what our beach soccer national team was about. We had these Zoom meetings where every single one of us was in our different areas of the country, and the head coach at the time would watch us through Zoom and evaluate us and pick kind of pick the roster off of these Zoom meetings. And I got chosen to go out to camp in Florida, and
That's
yeah,
wild. I
right.
did not know that they picked the roster based off of the
They
Zoom.
picked like the camp roster. So once, like, you could fly and whatnot, but Florida at that time was the only place that was allowing like group trainings to come together.
Oh, okay, okay.
And so he picked like a roster off of that group training and invited everybody to camp. And then from
Wow.
that camp, that's where he picked the roster to go to Russia. And so we all went out to that camp and made the team to go literally play in Russia. I mean, COVID was just like uplifting everything, and boom, we're flying to Russia, which was absolutely insane. I mean, I'd go into details on all the restrictions, but um, yeah, it was one of the most incredible experiences of my entire life. I mean, I was hooked before that, but I was hooked during that trip. I mean, there's no other feeling. I don't care if you're on the grass national team, if you're playing ping pong for US, it doesn't matter when you're seeing your jersey with your name on it, with the crest on it. It brings tears to my eyes every single time. And so at that moment, I was like, this is my calling. This is literally a second chance for me to play at the highest level possible and still continue to compete and still train at a high level. I love training. I love it. I mean, Hannah, you know me and you've seen that firsthand. I love training, and I really, really struggled coaching at that time because I didn't have an outlet of training. I still had that competitiveness, but I didn't know in the right ways of how to have an outlet for it. It's like I had unfinished business because of not being able to play pro and going through all those knee surgeries, that there was no closure really for me.
Mhm.
And not saying that this is closure for me, because I want to ride this wave as long as I freaking can. But it honestly, when I got chosen for that team, I was like, this is the greatest moment of my life, basically, because again, this is competing for my nation and me playing something at the highest levels. So when I came back from Russia, I was like, no, I'm not going back into college coaching. I got like odd jobs. Like I worked as a personal trainer, like at an F45 and doing a ton of privates,
Mhm.
just to obviously pay the bills and put a roof over my head.
Mhm.
But I was hardcore training full time, going out to tournaments, and trying to stay consistent, obviously on the national team and really make a statement and make my name known. So, that way I can continue to compete. But after about a year and a half of that, again, getting older and reality kicks in, and I'm like, wait, okay, this is great doing these odd jobs, but I need health insurance. And I also need to have some kind of savings. And this isn't going to be a sustainable pathway. So how can I now really incorporate, coaching and playing at the same time? And um, during those kind of figuring out that next step, and it was still, do I go back into college coaching? Do I go to nursing school? What the heck do I do? Um, a friend of mine called me and she's like, look, Berkeley is needing an assistant coach. Their assistant just went and got a head coaching job. Call the head coach today, like right now. And I was actually good friends with
Wow.
the head coach and had known him through the recruiting and through just past jobs.
Mhm.
So I called him and I'm like, hey, I'm needing a job and you're needing an assistant. So let's talk. And again, long story short, and so blessed and got the assistant coach at a coaching job at Cal. And went up to Cal and moved up to Berkeley, which worked out for a little bit because I was also playing for Cali Beach that's located in San Francisco. So now this was closer to San Francisco, but we go back to now being a Pac-12 program, and not only a Pac-12 program, but a top, 25 program in the nation, where the leniency of me being able to play beach wasn't as great that I've had in the past.
Yeah.
And Neil McGuire, love him to death. And to this day, he is one of my, close friend, mentors, everything. There was a tournament in El Salvador during our spring season, so no problem going to El Salvador. But once the college season hit, that was a lot more time of me not being able to play beach. And even the trainings, like I obviously Cal was number one, and then beach soccer where I can fit it in was kind of sprinkled in there. And he was so supportive, but again, we had to worry about still maintaining a top 25 program in the nation and wanting to win a Pac-12 title, and so that was always priority. Um Speed up after my first year at Berkeley. We lose to Santa Clara in the first round of playoffs, NCAA. And I remember sitting in his car and we're literally both like, I'm crying. He's like got tears in his eyes because we're devastated. Like we could not believe we just lost to Santa Clara. And I'm thinking, I'm already getting ready. Okay, we got to go recruit. I'm getting ready for, the next season at Cal. I loved it there. I wasn't thinking about anything else except for Cal. Absolutely loved it there. And he looks at me, he's like, what do you think about Reno? Right? Just out of the blue. What do you think about Reno?
You're like, I don't know. What do
You're
I
in
think about
tears.
Reno?
Yeah, you're like in tears, like
Like Reno? I'm
yeah.
like, what do you mean like Reno? I'm like, we just lost to Santa Clara. I could give, excuse my language, a shit about what? Like, what do you mean? What do I think about Reno? And again, being a Southern California girl, right? Like, I've never stepped foot in Reno. Never like people like talked about it. And I'm like, Reno? I'm like, no, I Reno is not
Oh my
not in the plans of my
Yeah.
life, right?
god.
So he's all, well, he's all, what do you think about, he's all being the head coach at University of Nevada? And I look at him and I'm like, what? I'm like, where is this coming from? I'm like, are you trying to tell me I'm fired? Like, just tell me,
Right.
like, I'm fired. Like, just tell me I'm fired. You don't have to like get me, tell me about a head coaching job or anything. And he's like, no, he's all, they contacted me and they asked me if I knew of anybody that would be good for this job. And he's like, yeah, I'm literally sitting right next to her. She'd be perfect for this job. She's amazing, all these things. Um, and he's like, and they're going to call you this week. He's like, so be prepared because
I
Nevada's
just got
going to
some
be calling
chills.
you.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
And I was just in disbelief. That was a dream of mine to always be a Division I coach. But when you actually are put kind of into those scenarios, I mean, am I ready for it? Do I actually know, like, do I even know what I'm doing? Like I talk a great game, but at the end of the day, like, wow, I have to make all the decisions now. It was a roller coaster of emotions, a lot of, self-doubt, questioning my own ability. Am I ready for this? And again, he was right there by my side of, yes, you're ready for this. Yes, you know what you're talking about. He's like, there was times that I even thought you were going to be taking my job. He's like, so that's why I'm giving you this job. I was worried you're going to be taking my job.
He's like, get out of here.
He's like,
He's
get
like, I gotta
out.
get her out of here.
That's so funny.
And he's like, but give it a chance. He's like, look, give it a chance. Go through the interview process. Go out there, take a look. Don't just shut it down because it's Reno, right? He's like, this is a great opportunity. It's a mid-major. It's a perfect spot for you um, to start my head coaching journey. And he's like, and if anything that you need, I'm right here for you. So I went out to the interview process and did the whole, interview, and you looked at the community and met a ton of people. And I fell in love with the university, and I fell in love with the community. I mean, the support that they have out there and the vision. I mean, they just hired a new athletic director, and her vision, I mean, she is even more badass than I am as far as just, the intensity and wanting to win and the vision that she has for the program. And yeah, it felt right. It felt like somewhere that I could come in and make a difference. And that was the thing. They'd had a losing record, and people call me and were like, "What are you doing? Why are you taking a program that has never won?" I mean, they were last place in the Mountain West, and that was, for 5, 6 years. And in all honesty, I didn't see as failure. I saw opportunity, because the things that they were lacking were exactly the skill set that I was going to come in and I was going to fix, and that I was going to bring to the table. And so taking over that season and taking over this last season, it was unbelievable. We'd never made a Mountain West tournament in the past 10 years, and we made the Mountain West tournament for the first time in 10 years, and turned, uh, turned a bunch of turned a bunch of non-believers into believers. And that was the most incredible thing. And, to coincide that with my beach soccer journey, um, you know, being a head coach now actually helps me, because I get to make my own schedule, right? So, and I have assistants that I get to tell, hey, go to this event, you can go recruit here, you can go do that. And I get to go do the beach soccer tournaments. Maybe we should cut this out, because maybe I shouldn't be spilling that tea,
Yeah, exactly.
um, but yeah, I get to make my own schedule in a lot of ways that actually helps me with training and tournaments with beach soccer than when I was an assistant and I was the one doing all of the recruiting and head recruiter and all of that. I didn't have that in the past. So it's been just a blessing in so many different ways, career wise, beach soccer wise, personally, professionally. Um, yeah, it's been a dream come true. Yeah.
Wow.
So here we are today, heading into the second
That
season, and now
was drop the mic.
Yeah, honestly, like we're done. We're
Yeah,
good.
I think we got it all.
right,
Done.
it was a little bit of a journey of
Yes.
going through to synthetic turf, to knee
Yes.
surgeries, to then playing in Russia, to now being a head coach, and
Yeah.
still being able to travel the world and literally living the dream. I mean, it is a lot of work, but you know what? Nothing great comes easy. And that's a life that I've always, or a motto I've always lived by. And again, seeing my mom and the work that she's put in, that's hard work. Hard work is something that I was born to do and instill in myself, and I instill in my players. And so I'm not afraid of hard work. I'm not afraid to wake up. Well, I hate waking up at 6 a.m. I am afraid of waking up at 6 a.m., but I'm not afraid to put in the work that's needed to still stay at a national team level and take a collegiate team, and this year winning a Mountain West tournament, right? And so I love it. I thrive on it. I thrive on the pressure. I thrive on that intensity. I thrive on just being at the highest level possible. Yeah, I love it.
Wow. I wish you were my head coach.
I know, right? I'm like, dang.
I'm like, wait a minute, this would have been good for me. This would have been very nice.
Oh my,
Wow, no, seriously, that's incredible. Thank you for sharing that whole journey because
Yeah.
it's just so
Thanks,
helpful.
guys.
Oh my
Of
gosh, yeah.
course.
I think it's just so helpful to hear. I mean, obviously everyone has a different path. Like
Yeah.
I grew up with a single mom too, so I
Yeah.
100% relate to that. And
It gives me goosebumps every time I hear it
yes,
because it's such a, it's a special, it's tough, but it's a special bond too. And
yeah.
oh, single mothers out there, my God, the love I have
Yes,
for all of
honestly,
them.
amen to the
Yes.
single moms out there.
Yeah.
And and obviously too, like I mean, just single moms in general, but like the level that we were playing at club wise, like you have to also rely on like so many other people. Like my
Oh
mom, and
yeah.
I'm sure it sounds like the same as yours. Like my mom was working all the time. Like my grandparents were driving me
Oh,
to and from.
grandparents, the love
Yes,
for the grandparents.
yes, the love
Oh.
for the grandparents, to and from club practices. Like I had club coaches that were
Yep.
picking me up and taking me to practice because like I
Yeah.
didn't have anybody to do it. And like I feel like at the time, like I was so young, I didn't like, I was just like, yeah, like they're gonna pick me up and I'm gonna go to practice. And like now I'm like thinking about it, and I'm like, oh my God, that was like so insane and so insanely like supportive of the whole, I mean, everyone around me, the whole community around me, to like make sure that I was like still in like same thing. Like that was like my way. Like soccer was like my thing. Like that was like my way out, kind of
Yeah.
like. And I didn't even realize it at the time. And now looking back, it just makes me so. So anytime I hear somebody that has like a single mom and went through the whole thing, I'm just like, oh, I love
Right? It takes a village, but that's
that.
what is so incredibly special about the soccer community is that at the end of the day, we do look out for everybody, right? And we do look out for each other because this is such, I get tears in my eyes of how beautiful this game is. I mean, you look at it just in our own personal experiences, but what it does for the entire world, right? And just how amazing this sport is and what the meaning behind this sport is for everybody in their own way. And I don't think there's anything else in this entire world like it. There's no other sport in this entire world like it, that what it does and the meaning behind it and how it just brings people together. And yeah, it is special. And that's ultimately why I've always come back to coaching. I talk about all these, possibilities of doing other things, and at the end of the day, there is nothing else in my life that I would rather be doing. And I will be doing this till I'm 70, 80 years old, coaching and hopefully, yes, still playing on the national team. Some way involved in this beautiful sport, whether it be grass, whether it be soccer. I mean, it still is such a beautiful community and I love it to death. Yeah, it's special. Yeah.
Just hearing that whole path, like I think obviously like one of the reasons we started Beyond the Baller was because we both realized I didn't like neither of us had, or I think Hannah, maybe you did, but I didn't have a woman as my head coach until
Oh,
last
yeah.
year. In
Yeah.
my whole life, I mean, for
Yeah.
20 something years, I
Yeah.
had men coaches my whole life, which like no hate, no shade to the men coaches. Like I had great coaches too, but I think it is such a big difference when you have a woman as your head coach and you just like representation is so important. So I think it's so amazing and cool that you went through like all the club levels to college, and like now these girls in college are like being able to look up to you and ask you questions about like your life and playing soccer, and you just have like that's probably just such a cool bond to have with your players that I feel
Yeah.
like not that we like missed out on it having like men coaches, but it's just like a completely different
Oh, I
experience.
I love it. A lot of people, I get the question of why college, right? Why not stay in club? And because there's a lot of people that prefer club coaching over college coaching, right? And that's good. Everybody has a preference. And I get that question of, well, why just college? And for me, it's so much more than just the soccer side. I always say the soccer is 10% of what my job is as a college coach. And I love, love, love this journey that these the young females go through in this like self discovery, during this college time. They're away from their parents. Um, the self-discovery, they're finding their own voice. I really empower them to have their own voice, to raise and ask questions, to come into my office and have difficult conversations with me. That way that they're prepared for that next step in life, right? And for them, the most important thing is the confidence piece. And we have these 4 pillars at our university for our culture. And this is something that I truly believe and instill in these girls. And the first one is selfless sacrifice, right? What are we constantly doing for others? What are we doing for our own teammates? What are we doing for others in the university? What are we doing for others in the community? The other one is relentless mentality. Man, relentless to me, if obviously my story, that is everything. If I were gonna get a tattoo of one word on my body, it would probably be relentless, because I'm relentless in my pursuit of my dreams and my goals. And so I want to instill that into them, to be relentless in their pursuit of their dreams, whatever that may be, right? Um, Not just be relentless and I want playing time, I want playing time. No, no, no. Relentless in, okay, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a physical therapist, I want to play professional soccer. I want them to be relentless in that mentality. And then the other one is endless effort, which obviously, what effort are you putting towards that? But the biggest one for me, and the fourth one, is the be brave. And I talk to my girls about being brave of on the field. Are you brave enough that when you make mistakes, are you gonna, make yourself small? Or are you gonna make yourself bigger again and be like, no, I got this, having that confidence? Are you brave enough to go after your goals? Are you brave enough to come into my office and be like, no, this is what I want, and this is what I'm going to do to get after it? I have all these things that we instill in these girls because, again, I want them to be ready for that next step and not be shy to enter that world. I want them to be kicking down fucking doors. Sorry again to curse, but I want them kicking down fucking doors and being so prepared for that next step of like, I've got this. Let's go, world. Bring it fucking on. And I love that in the college game, because I don't have to deal with their parents. I don't have to, I don't sit them for an hour and then they're off to their parents and that's it. Like they're my kids, they're my children, they're my responsibility. And it does help of the journey that I've had, because yeah, I've been injured. Yes, I've been cut from teams, right? I've been failure after failure. But I was relentless in my pursuit. I was confident that I could do it, and I got myself back up, and now I'm playing on a fucking national team. Like, I still pinch myself sometimes on that. And that part too, and I know I get this question a lot, is how that reflects on my coaching to my, to my team in college. And, you know, I love these kind of podcasts because it allows me to reflect on it, because sometimes I don't reflect. I just every day wake up and get to work, right? I just wake up, train, get to work and coach, and I don't really stop to really think of what the impact is. But I absolutely love it because it shows them that at any age, right? It's never too late. It's never too late to go after your dreams. And yeah, if you work your ass off for something, there's a very, very high probability. I don't sugarcoat it and say you're gonna, be president of the United States if that's what you want to be. But if you work your ass off for it, good things will happen. Good things will happen if you work hard. And that's just been kind of the theme that I've had with these girls, and they see it firsthand. They see me running stairs, with a weight vest on. They see me doing the beep. I told them about the beep test in the sand, right? Like, they're like, this is crazy. You're doing the beep test in the sand. This is nuts. So they know that when I ask them to do something, that one, I'm not asking them to do anything I don't truly believe that they're not capable of doing. And I'm not asking them to do anything that I wouldn't personally do. They see me in the gym lifting weights, right?
Do you
And they
ever
see
run with
me,
them?
uh, sometimes I have a few times, but I haven't one just because I know it gets them all riled up, and two, I'm too competitive as well. This is why
You
a lot
would
of people
beat
ask, do
all
I
of
play?
That's what I was just gonna say. It'd be so demoralizing to just like have your coach get on the line with you and then beat you in the beat.
them.
Yeah, I would say, if my girls ever listen to this, there's probably maybe one or two. I would give one for sure that could probably beat me on the beep test. There's one that definitely could beat me on the beep test. The rest, I would definitely say, yeah, I got them on that. I got them on that. But no, I can't play with them because I get too competitive and I can't injure my own players. So it's like I gotta kind of take that step back and have that line of coach and then players.
Yeah.
It's
But
good
yeah,
though,
I
because
haven't.
like you said, you have the outlet of playing, so you
Yeah,
get the best of both worlds in
I
that
get the
sense.
best of both worlds, exactly, and I love it. And it is, it's inspiring for them, it's inspiring for me. I mean, there was times that I was in El Salvador and I knew my girls were watching and I was like, okay, I got to keep going. I'm exhausted, but they're watching me. I got to keep going. So we push each other in that sense. But more importantly, what I love about me being able to do what I do and being able to coach them is that it shows them that there's opportunities out there. There's opportunities for them after college, right? And I'm so happy of where we are. Obviously, we're building it on the beach, but where we're at, just on the grass side of things too, that there wasn't the opportunities of playing overseas as much when I was, younger. I mean, there's more now. I mean, even having the 2 professional leagues here now in the US. I mean, there's just so much more opportunity for them. And so I want them to see by me playing at a national team level that there's opportunities for them in some kind of capacity, whether it be they want to go the beach route, which would be unbelievable. But if they want to go play professional soccer after, and they don't just have to go straight into their jobs, that they're capable of doing that too. And that again, it's not going to be handed to them. And I tell them this all the time, that nothing in this life will ever be handed to them. They do have to work their ass off for it, but it's out there. If they want it, it's there and out there, and there's opportunities for them. And so that's what I want them to see more than anything else, is that, wow, my older coach is playing on a national team. Wow, maybe that's something I can do. Or wow, what else out there is there that I can do? I don't have to just graduate and go into a synthetic turf job, right? Like there's more out there. So that's the biggest thing. I want them to see opportunities more so than anything of what I'm doing. But yeah, the hard work has to come with it.
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah. Dang, I wish we had her, but I'm glad I have her as a teammate because
Yeah, even more so.
I will say Vanessa has been a huge mentor for me, even like on the sand. No, for real. Dude, you've helped me so much this past year. Are you kidding? Like, and Vanessa, like, for people who are interested in going to Nevada,
Yeah, this is a good recruiting.
Yeah, right. Let me
yeah, I'll give this to you.
Vanessa Valentine at unr.edu.
Yeah, exactly. Drop her your highlight video. uh, no, but Vanessa has a really great way of hyping people up and also holding people accountable, but not in the way that makes you like, oh my gosh, Vanessa, like stop. Like she says it in a way that's, I don't know, you can tell it's that coaching side of her, but it makes you motivated and it just makes you put your head down. You're like, yeah, she's right. Okay, like I just need to lock it in, you know? And I will say, like, that is a huge piece on our beach national team that Vanessa plays a huge role in. With her voice alone. Obviously, her technical abilities and everything on the field as well, or the sand. But I will say, like, you can see how that carries over to that side, and then I'm sure that helps you with your coaching as well. It goes both ways. So yeah, I mean, I've experienced a little bit of that, but more as a teammate side of things. But I'm sure the girls, I mean, I can't even imagine having a coach that's playing at the same time and is relatable. I'm sure they love having you. So
I appreciate that, Hannah. I really, really do. And it's accountability one is a big thing. And I tell them that it also helps in a lot of different ways because I tell them all the time, right? And we talk about making mistakes and how to recover from making mistakes and moving on and all of that. And I put my hand up in front of all of them and I'm like, I make so many mistakes in beach soccer. And I make, I've given up goals before, I've tripped and fallen on my face like we all have, right? Like, yeah, like, well, guys, I make mistakes constantly on the biggest stage, right? And so it's how you move on from that. And I'll be the first one to raise my hand and let them know and tell them too. And in coaching, I do that all the time where the accountability that I'm holding to them, there's been times like I'll give an example of a game where we lost a game and it was we didn't play to our standards, right? And as a coach, man, I was seeing red. Like honestly, I was seeing red. And after the game, when they needed me to put their arm around them, I went the opposite way. And I was just in them like, this wasn't good enough. And that wasn't good enough. And if you think we're going to make the playoffs and yeah, but, and there was definitely some F-bombs in there, and just, again, seeing red. I think at one point the music in the stadium had dropped, and like, I'm like yelling at them and their parents are sitting over there. Right. Like, it was just not a good scenario. And I go home that night and reflect. I tell them to reflect all the time, and really just kind of taking that in. And I'm like, man, you know what? Again, when they needed me to be a coach and the support, I was not. And the next morning, we have training the next morning, and I'll be the first one to stand and put my hand up and be like, ladies, I take full responsibility for after that game, that, yeah, we weren't playing at our standards. And yes, we weren't, doing what was being asked, and we lost. But again, you needed me to be a better coach and to help you through this, rather than degrading and putting you down and making you feel any worse. I'm like, that was not a good coach on my part. I was not the best coach that you needed at that time. And I will be the first one to put my hand up and say, I made a mistake, and I will take full responsibility for that. And it's huge, right? It's huge on a national team level as a teammate, of like, yeah, I'm going to be intense with you guys, and I am going to demand a lot from you guys, because you all know that I do the same thing for me, and that I have your back at the end of the day. Push comes to shove, I will have your back through anything on, off the field. Hannah, anybody, they called me and they're like, V, I need you here. Boom, I'm there. Right. So I'm able to be more intense on the field because they know it's coming from a good place. So same thing with coaching. It's very, very important that my girls know how much I care about them and how much they care about each other. So when we get into those intense moments, they don't think, oh, well, there's coach just being a bitch again and screw her. It's, oh man, okay, yeah, you know what? This is the harsh reality. We just got to take it, because yeah, she cares about us, and it's not good enough, right? It's not good enough in these moments, and we need to step ourselves up. So there's a lot of accountability. There's a lot of trust in that. There's a lot of, just teammates and my players knowing that at the end of the day, yes, I am working my tail off so incredibly hard to be the best teammate, to be the best coach for you. And I care about my teammates and I care about my players so much that when we get into these moments of intensity and, hey, this needs to be better, hey, we got to go harder, everybody knows it's coming from a very positive place, that we just want to be successful. So yeah, I appreciate that though, Hannah. Thank you.
Yeah. No, totally. I mean, I think that's what I love so much about you. Like, I think it's really cool because you have this intense side of you, but like you are the most genuine person. And like you said, like you will be the first one to put your arm around somebody and be like, "Hey, I got you." And I even remember, I'll always remember this exact moment. Um, El Salvador last year. When it was the last minute of a game, we're playing against El Salvador, my first beach soccer tournament. My first
Yeah.
beach soccer tournament with the U.S. team, and I turned the ball over, like we all have, trying to pass it back to the goalkeeper in beach soccer. Sometimes if you don't get it out of the sand, then somebody will just steal it from you and go to goal.
Yeah.
And that happened to me. That was the first time it happened to me. Hopefully the last, but I will probably say it's not the last. But will always remember, after that game, the feelings that I felt of just feeling like I let the team down. It's a lot of emotions. Obviously, you're playing in front of that many fans, like just really intense. We lost that last game. That was our last game there. And I'll always remember you came up to me in the locker room and you were like, dude, like, we've all been there.
Yeah.
and even though, like, that was an intense game and all of that, and that was a really tough moment for me, you really helped pull me out of that and show me that, like, no, like, we got you. Like, it's okay,
Yeah.
And I think, and I'm sure that's the type of stuff you're doing with your players as well. But I think for me, I just remember that was something that will always, like, that meant a lot to me, because I was like, okay, like I'm gonna be okay.
Oh, I love that. Oh, thank you. I really, really appreciate that kind of stuff too. And like, I will forever have your back, all the girls' back, right? And yes, we've all freaking been there. We've all and continue to be there. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why, and I've learned that. My God, have I learned that. And that just comes with experience, that comes with age, that comes with so many different things. I mean, God, when I was in college, so again, going back to playing club and playing for surf and playing for this team that we literally never lost. Like we had to play in because there was no ECNL or GA or any of that bullshit that's now, right? It was like there was just a San Diego league, there was an Orange County league, there was state cup, regionals, and nationals. And that was it. You're the best in the state, you go and you were the best in your region, and you go and you're the best in the nation. And we won everything. Like we won nationals, we won regionals, we won state cup. We had to play 2 years older than us just to get competition in California. So when I went to Cal State Fullerton, the team wasn't that great. Like we weren't like my first year, like was not good. And I did not know how to handle that. I did not know how to handle coming from a very good team to a team that wasn't the greatest in the Big West. And my God, was I an absolute bitch to my teammates. I just didn't know how to, and I was a center back, right? So I'm leading, I'm talking, like I was everything back there. But anytime my teammates made a mistake, oh, I was the first one to get on them. Anytime that like my team and lost, oh man, I was throwing a freaking fit, right? Like I just did not know how to be a good teammate. And, after graduating, and it got better through the years, but still, like I was still just like, I thought I was so intense, and like me being hard showed like, yeah, I care so much because I'm yelling at you, right? Which clearly is not the way to do it. But looking back and after I graduated and looking back, I'm just like, my God, like what the heck was I doing? Like I was out of control, and I didn't want to be that for any of my future teammates. I didn't want to be that for obviously coaching and doing that to my own teammates. And I'll tell you what, I got very, very humbled. Not that I ever, ever, ever spoke up to anybody, but going to, pro tryouts in Philadelphia, going to New York Flash. I mean, God, I'd learned to keep my mouth shut. There was no way I was going to be telling Amy Rodriguez to, not give the fucking ball away, right? Like, I'm not going to be. And so, it's a learning and a growing, and that I just didn't want to be the teammate that I was in college, and that I was always, always going to be, yes, still intense because that's just who I am as a human being. But definitely like, let me put my arm around you and let me help you in this journey because we're doing it together. I'm not against you. I'm with you the entire freaking way. And that's with my own teammates. That's with my girls that, yeah, I'm hard, I'm intense, I'm demanding. But I'll be the first one to put my arm around somebody and be like, I got you. Let's go. I got you. This is how we're going to get better. And I'm right there alongside with you on this next step. So I appreciate that, Hannah. I really do.
Yeah, and I think that's so important for so many young females to hear because
Yeah,
it is really hard for us to find that balance of being intense and finding our voice and holding people accountable, but not sounding like a bitch or not like,
exactly.
coming across as too aggressive. And when guys do it, I am stereotyping a little bit, but I think this is just probably all of our experience. When guys do this, typically nobody really says anything. It's just, oh, like whatever, like he's just being whatever, like he's annoyed, but nobody really gets upset with them for talking like that. But when we talk like that, all of a sudden it's like, why does she have such an attitude or things
Yeah.
like that? So I think it is really important, like everything you just said is so crucial for like young females to hear. Like, yes, you can hold people accountable in a way that is intense, but also like it's all about your intention. And if
Hmm.
people know you have good intentions, then it's okay to get on people and help them get the best out of themselves and the best out of your teammates. But at the end of the day, like when they're doing well, hyping them up and putting your arm around them and be like, hey, like I got you, things like that. So there really should be a crash course just on that alone, honestly.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we spend so much time on just accountability. We spend so much time on what that means because there's also a negative connotation that comes with accountability. I'm holding you accountable. People think, well, am I doing something wrong? Or maybe I'm not doing like living up to the standards. Well, I'm going to hold you accountable. People kind of like, oh, shoot. well, what am I not doing well enough, right? And it's no, I'm not, it's not holding you accountable to what you're not doing. Let's hold you accountable to higher standards. That's what I get with my girls, that we have a high goal of winning the Mountain West tournament, right? So when I'm like, Hannah, I'm going to hold you accountable, it's, well, Hannah, we've got such big goals that I'm going to hold you accountable, that I'm pushing you even more. So it's not that you're not doing something. I want you to do more because we've got such high goals. And if I'm holding you accountable to do more, you're going to hold me accountable to do more. And so now it's in a positive direction to our high goals of winning a Mountain West tournament, because they've been tired of losing for the past 6 years. And so if you're tired of losing, well, we need to change some things. We need to do more things than you guys did in the past. I'm holding you accountable to higher standards.
Yes,
That's it.
that's such a good way to
And
say it.
yeah, I think that's like so, yeah, so important to emphasize it like that, because I just feel like you said before, you're not asking them to do things that you don't believe that they can do. Like, I feel like that's the biggest thing. It's like, yes, I'm holding you to a high standard because I know that you can get there. And like, that's it. Like, I'm not asking you to come out here and be like Marta and do all this crazy stuff and be these insane players. Like, no, I'm asking you to be the best possible version of yourself. And that's why I'm yelling at you. And you know that. And I feel like you said too, like trust is such an important role in that, because like, exactly, like, I mean, we've all been through it, but like if you have a coach that comes at you and they're screaming in your face and you don't trust them and you don't think they know what's best for you, or have the right intentions for you, like it's really hard to deal with that. And I've been in that situation too, where I've had coaches screaming at me and I'm like, well, you don't actually care about me or like want the best for me. So that again is like a really hard situation to be in as like a young player. So I think it's so cool that like you're teaching all this stuff to them, because that is the same thing on and off the field. Like you're gonna have bosses that are like that. Like, you're gonna come out of soccer, like the whole world is like that. There's so many things that you can learn. Obviously, yes, we all love soccer and like it's, I mean, the best thing ever to be on the field and be out there with your teammates, but there's so much more. Like we've always said, like beyond the baller too, like it's about so much more than soccer. But I
Yeah.
think that is incredible that you're teaching your players that. And I just wish, like you said, I wish you were my coach. So with that,
Thanks, guys.
yes, if somebody wanted to get recruited by you,
Yes.
or go to Nevada, or just
Yes.
whatever, a Division I school in general, what are your tips? What's your advice for kids looking to get recruited to play at a D1 school?
Yeah, it's so, God, that's the other thing is it's changed so much in the recruiting. And again, with more opportunity, then comes more competition, right? There comes more players coming in, more leagues, all these different things. And so it's tough nowadays. It really is, because there's the ECNL, which is, everybody's talking ECNL, GA, and then all these other, levels below. The biggest thing is do your diligence, right? So to kids that are listening, or to parents that are listening, right? One, do research. A lot of people are going on Instagram now and they're like, oh, I like that college off of Instagram. No, go online, do your research, have an idea of things that are important to you as a player, right? To you as an individual. I want to live on the West Coast. I want to be by the beach. I want to live in the mountains, or I hate heat. So I want to be somewhere where it's colder, or I hate snow. So I want to be somewhere where it's warmer. Kind of start making a little bit of a list of the things that are important to you. And it's never too early. I never, eighth graders, ninth graders, 10th graders, it's never too early just to start just coming down with some ideas. And it might change, completely might change, but just start having some ideas of where you want, like, what do you want out of your college experience? And then go online and take a look. Come on and look at University of Nevada, right? That's the biggest thing that we get, is we still have that Reno connotation, that kids think University of Nevada of Reno and they're like, oh, Reno, I don't want to go to Reno. But they don't realize that we are literally 30 minutes from Lake Tahoe. We're at the base of the mountains and it's absolutely gorgeous when you step on foot. Everybody that comes onto our campus is blown away by the beauty of the campus itself and the mountains that are literally right there. We're at the footsteps of it. So do research. And then due diligence, meaning reach out to the coaches, email, 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 send tons. I mean, I get tons and tons of emails every single day, but the more that I see your name in my inbox, the more that shows that you actually do want to come to my school, that you do care about us. And that, you know what, I'm going to go take a look at Susie, right? Because I see Susie's name in my email so much. And I'm like, I'm going to go take a look in Susie and I'm going to see if she's at our level. And send highlight videos. Because I'll be honest, a majority of coaches will go to the ECNL events, right? So if you're an ECNL team, then yes, you're most likely going to be seen by the majority of colleges. GA is the same thing. GA, you'll see majority of colleges because we're going to these showcases that have the best teams all in one space. If you're not ECNL, GA, and maybe you're the second team or you're these other leagues, like I said, there's a college out there for everybody. There is literally a college out there for everybody. So email, send tons of video of you playing. And like I said, the most important thing is do not, and I say this, I'm a Division I head coach, but I'm going against this when I say this. Do not go to a school based on its division. Do not say I have to go to a Division I university and that is it. You have the same exact experience, regardless if you're at an NAIA, a Division III, Division II, or Division I. You're playing with a group of girls that will become your best friends. You're on a team that have the same exact kind of culture and do team bonding. And you get to play college soccer and you're playing at a high level. College soccer, regardless if it's Division III, Division II, Division I, it's still a high level. So do not look just at I have to play Division I. Look at universities for more than just the soccer. And that's the biggest piece of advice I would give to anybody looking at playing at that next level in college is do not just say, I have to play D1 because maybe you're going to be on the bench for 2 or 3 years. Do you care about being on the bench? Do you want to have a little bit of a life outside of just soccer and school? Do you want to actually enjoy your college career? There's so many different avenues and different things that you can do and still be a part of a unbelievable team and a team atmosphere and a team culture that's not necessarily Division I. But if you want to specifically come into Nevada and be coached by me, I would absolutely suggest sending me an email, sending me your game film and introductions. And do not be discouraged if I don't get back to you right away. Continue to send emails. Send more, send 1, 2, 3, send one, every 2 weeks of, hey, Vanessa, I heard you on the podcast. Perfect. Then I'm going to take a look at your video and then I'll respond. But don't be discouraged if coaches don't get back to you. Continue to send emails and be almost a pest is what I say. Send so many emails. That's like, fine, I'll go watch Susie. And then, ooh, I love Susie. Perfect. Susie's coming to Nevada. So do the diligence, do your research, and yeah, send contact as much as possible.
I might be emailing you later.
Yeah. We don't have any more years left.
Exactly. You got the eligibility. Let's go.
You bend the rules for us.
We never got a COVID year, which I'm still upset
exactly.
about.
This you might have to edit off. You guys are good? Okay. I got money. I'll find money.
One last question and then we'll let you go. But I do think this is important for people to hear. When you're recruiting, what are like I know obviously positionally it's different. Like there are certain key things you're looking for in positions, but overall, are there a few key things that you are looking for in players?
Yeah, and this is different for all coaches, right? This isn't just across the board, like my answer is end all be all, right? But one, it is to start off with the positional piece is important because yes, we are looking at certain positions and be good in what those positions are. If you're a forward, one, score goals. That will always get you recruited if you're scoring goals. So that's an easy one. But highlight your strengths in those positions. I look at center backs, and for me, again, I'm partial to center backs, but as a center back, you better be a good ball winner in the air. You better be, slide tackling. God, slide tackling is a lost art form in the game of soccer. And I love a girl that is not scared to go in and just break somebody's leg and slide tackle. But in the positions, know your strengths in that position. The second thing that I'm looking at, and this is very cliche to say, but it's true, is I'm not looking at mistakes that you're making. Everybody does make mistakes at the highest levels. We're making mistakes, but what are you doing after those mistakes? And it's not so much, yes, are you going to win the ball back? Yes, are you wanting the ball? But I'm looking at your body language. I'm looking at how you're carrying yourself. You make a mistake, are you hunching your shoulders over? Are you making yourself small? Or you're like, hey, okay, you know what? I got it. Hey, give me the ball back. I got the next one. Let's go. I'm looking at details of, are you communicating with your teammates? What's the language that you're using with your teammates? Are you, being intense, but are you uplifting with your teammates? Um, I'm looking at with them a lot of things of what you're doing off the ball. Are you making yourself an impact on the field, even if you don't have the ball? And that doesn't mean you need to be screaming and yelling, but are you simple as even just moving your head side to side to be analyzing the game, to be looking at, well, how can I get the ball? Where should I be? Where should my positional be right now? So we're looking at a lot of different things that what are you doing to impact the game, whether you're in possession or out of possession, whether you're on the ball or whether you're not on the ball. Those are things that I'm looking at. And because it's easy for all of us to be, there's the fastest girl, there's the most technical girl, right? It's a little bit trickier for me as a mid-major because I'm not Stanford and I'm not getting national team players, right? So I've got to be looking at players that might not be the most technical, most fast. That's going to be, like I said, on the national team. So I am really, for me, looking at me personally as a coach, I love that intensity, right? I love somebody that isn't scared to make mistakes. That's somebody that's going to be running through a brick wall, doing everything that they can to try to help their team, whether, winning a game or making an impact on the field. You might not have the best technical ability. You might, not have the best touch, but those are things I know I can teach you and help improve. So I'm looking at just your overall attitude, your overall intensity on the field, and then the details. How, again, are you impacting the game? So that's a long-winded answer,
Yeah.
but those
No,
are
that's perfect.
That's
That's super
so
helpful
helpful.
because I know both of us, as coaches, we get a lot of questions, regarding what are these college coaches looking for, and things like that. So it is really helpful to have those key points of
yeah.
what you should
And
be
I
doing.
will add too, right? Because again, the soccer piece is such a small percentage, and a lot of people think the soccer piece is everything, right? A lot of kids coming on, parents think that the soccer piece of college is everything, right? It's not. We're bringing these kids into our family and into our culture. And so, yes, obviously their skills are important because it impacts wins and losses and impacts our job, but we would rather have, and this is just a better person and a human being than a soccer player, right? Obviously, they still have to have skills and still be able to play, but we're looking a lot, like I look at what are they doing if I get to a game early enough? I'm watching them at warm up. I'm watching how they're talking to their coaches. Parents that are listening, I am legitimately hearing parents, and if they're screaming on the sideline, I'm like, whose daughter is that? Done. Like done. Like I'm not dealing with screaming parents because that's a reflection of what their own child is going to be. So we're looking at the type of human beings that these girls are. How are they interacting with their players during warm-ups? All of these things that we look at, because yes, the soccer side of things is important, but the human beings that we're bringing into our culture is so much more important. That's what we spend a lot of time building, is the culture behind these teams. Because as we all know, if you have a good culture and you guys have girls that get along together and love each other, they'll run through brick walls for one another. So we look a lot at who the human being is first, and then obviously the soccer side of it second.
Love that.
That's
And
huge.
Yeah.
that should be,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Vanessa. I
I
know we
love it, ladies.
a
Thank
lot of
you.
the
Woo,
time,
I love
but
this.
yeah, this was so amazing. Honestly, your path is so inspiring.
Yeah.
I
Appreciate
feel
that.
so inspired right now. I don't know what to do after this, but I have to do something. But no, seriously, and these girls are lucky to have you as a head coach. I'm lucky to have you as a teammate, and we were so happy to have you on our podcast.
Oh, thanks, ladies. I love you guys. This is
Yeah.
like I said, I'm not partial to talking about myself, but I love talking about the journey and what we're looking for and helping others and um yeah, helping, like I said, the opportunities and providing. God, I love that I'm a part of providing opportunities. I love that. And you guys too, what you guys are doing is beyond, and I love the platform that you guys have. And I love what you're bringing to the table and the awareness to just females and female athletes, right? Obviously, we're all here in soccer, but it's so much bigger than that. It truly is. This is what you're doing, what we're doing. It's so much bigger than just the coaching of skills of soccer. It's so much bigger than that. And that's what I love about it. Just the lessons that we're giving these kids, these girls, these females, is huge. And so I appreciate what you guys are doing too. I
Thank
love it. I
you.
love it. I need more gear. I need more swag. So, and how we can
Yes,
truly I want to fit the team. So let me know.
Yeah,
yes,
let's talk about that
we would love that.
off the record.
Yeah,
But
again,
thanks, ladies. I love you guys. I
thank
appreciate
you
this.
so much. Really,
Yes.
thank you. That will be really helpful for a lot of people to hear.
Good.
Thank
Good. That's
you.
what I care about. Awesome.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Bye, guys.
bye.
Bye.